This video will make you dangerously courageous. You were taught to believe that courage is a shining virtue, that a courageous man is an open-hearted hero, worthy of applause. That is the lie that keeps you tamed. Real courage is not beautiful, not inspiring, not comfortable. Real courage is a double-edged blade. It cuts the enemy, but it also cuts you. It destroys your comfort zone, rips away your peace, burns down your false security. The one who truly becomes courageous does not earn an easy life. He inherits a heavy fate, marked by the fear of others and the isolation of standing apart. I am Wolfchiavelli, servant of Machiavelli's cold gaze, and I will give you what no one else dares. Courage is not meant for smiling, it is meant for bleeding. 3 techniques in this video will make you dangerously courageous. Dangerous to others, because no one will ever again manipulate you through fear. And dangerous to yourself, because every act of true courage will push you further away from the ordinary man and put you on a collision course with the ordinary life you still insist on protecting. I am Wolfchiavelli, and this is the beginning of another video. Courage as a double-edged blade. Machiavelli never called courage a pure virtue. For him, courage was tied to virtù, the man's ability to act against the current, to defy fortune, and to impose his will. But what almost no one realizes is that this virtù always comes with a heavy cost. When you act with Machiavellian courage, you do not only confront the enemy, you confront destiny itself. And destiny demands a brutal price. Courage opens doors to power, but it also opens wounds that never heal. That is why I say, courage is a double-edged blade. It is not the childish glow of stories. It is the cold steel that cuts both the world and yourself. The weak imagine courage as a gift. I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you, courage is poison. When you drink from this chalice, something in you dies forever. Peace dies, security dies, illusion dies. You cannot be courageous and remain human in the ordinary sense of the word. Courage transforms you into something apart, cold, feared, isolated. You gain power, but you pay with the loss of the comfortable life that cowards preserve. This is the exchange men cannot endure. So they invented the lie of romantic courage, because the truth is too harsh to swallow. Society, cowardly at its core, fabricates false heroes to tame you. They say the courageous man is loved, celebrated, rewarded. Machiavelli knew the opposite. The truly courageous man does not seek love. He seeks dominion, and he who seeks dominion will never be loved. He will be feared. It is this fear that builds real power, because the love of the people is fickle, but fear is permanent. That is why the courageous prince must accept the solitude of the throne, surrounded by flatterers, but always alone before the truth. And here lies the brutality. The coward lives longer. Cowardice gives peace, comfort, and a long life. But it is a life of shadows, silence, and irrelevance. Courage, on the other hand, drags you out of that shadow and throws you into the blinding light of protagonism. You become impossible to ignore. You may die early, like so many who defied power, but your mark remains, while cowards vanish without leaving a trace. I, as a servant of Machiavelli, have learned to admire more the man who bleeds early than the one who grows old without ever having faced anything. To be courageous is to lose humanity. The common man seeks acceptance and rest. The courageous man seeks conflict and dominion. The common lives among equals. The courageous places himself above them. It is a path with no return. Once you cross that door, you can never again be part of the herd. And that is precisely what makes the courageous man dangerous, not only to others, but to himself, because he bears the weight of being condemned to never again be normal. So I repeat, courage is not a virtue, it is a curse. A Machiavellian curse that rips innocence out of man and places him on the battlefield, where every act is risk and every step may be the last. But those who endure this double-edged blade are the only ones who etch their names into eternity. All the rest are nothing more than cowards with long, empty lives. Developing dangerous courage. 3 techniques. First technique, kill everyday cowardice. The first step to developing dangerous courage is not to face great battles, but to destroy the small acts of cowardice you commit every day. Every time you silence your opinion out of fear of others' eyes, you mutilate yourself. Every time you run from discomfort, you feed your cowardice. The common man believes these small cowardices are meaningless. But I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you, it is these small escapes that shape the eternal coward. Machiavelli taught that great empires fall because of details left unnoticed. The same way, a man loses his spirit through daily cowardice. To build real courage, you must begin with the cruel act of deliberately exposing yourself. Say what everyone avoids. Refuse what everyone accepts. Face the situations your mind begs you to run from. These small acts are like sharpening the blade of your spirit. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to cross through fear. And when the great confrontations arrive, you will no longer tremble. Dangerous courage is born in the daily ritual of killing common cowardice. It is an inner blood sacrifice, a slow assassination of your weaknesses. Second technique, despise the judgment of others. The second technique is more cruel because it is not enough to face external fear. You must kill the internal fear of not being accepted. The common man lives for approval, shaping his words and actions to be accepted by the group. But Machiavelli already warned, the ruler cannot depend on the love of the people, because love is fickle, treacherous. The prince must seek fear, not acceptance. And I tell you, the same law applies to you. As long as you live to be accepted, you will remain a slave. Only when you despise others' judgment will you be free. This contempt is inhuman because it goes against man's deepest instinct, to belong to the herd. By abandoning this instinct, you lose comfort but gain power. The one who does not need approval is unbreakable. He may be hated, he may be slandered, but he cannot be touched. And this is where dangerous courage is born. When you realize you no longer need to please, you can speak and act with the brutality of your own will. This contempt is the inner fortress no external attack can ever tear down. Third technique, use fear as a weapon. The mistake of the weak is to try to eliminate fear. They believe courage is the absence of fear, and for this reason, they never achieve it. Real courage, the one Machiavelli admired in strong princes, is different. It is using fear as a weapon. Fear never disappears. It is transformed into energy. I, Wolfchiavelli, have learned to see fear not as an enemy, but as a compass. What frightens you the most is precisely what you must face, because there lies the door that separates cowards from rulers. To use fear as a weapon is to enter the arena trembling, but not stop. It is to feel your heart racing and still advance. This continuous exposure forges an iron shell around the soul. Little by little, fears stop dominating you, and you begin to dominate them. The world remains dangerous, but you become even more dangerous. This is the apex of Machiavellian courage, not the innocence of one who feels no fear, but the coldness of one who uses fear as fuel for power. The psychoanalytic gaze. Psychoanalysis begins with an uncomfortable truth. Fear never disappears. The human unconscious is governed by primitive forces, drives of life and death, and fear is the voice that protects them. The coward does not understand this. He believes courage means not feeling fear, and so he lives in failure. He represses fear, buries it deep, but continues to be ruled by it. This repression is like an invisible prison. The more the coward tries to hide, the more fear controls his life. Freud said the unconscious always returns, and I tell you, the man who runs from fear will always be hunted by it, until he is devoured. The ego is a mask. It exists to sustain an image of safety, of identity, of control, but the ego is fragile. When confronted by fear, it breaks and reveals the despair it was hiding. That is why the common man invents excuses. It's not the right time. One day I will. It's not worth it now. These justifications are the ego's defense mechanisms, trying to preserve the illusion that it is still in command. I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you, as long as you surrender to these mechanisms, you will never be courageous. Dangerous courage demands that you crush these defenses, allow fear to appear raw and brutal, and face it without a mask. Freud also revealed the vicious circle of repetition. The unconscious seeks to recreate unresolved trauma. That is why the fearful man repeats his cowardice in every situation in life. He runs today, he runs tomorrow, he runs again. until his entire existence becomes an endless escape. What he does not realize is that fear only breaks when it is crossed. Trauma only stops repeating when you enter it head-on. That crossing is painful, it is bloody, but it is the only way to break the cycle. The courageous man is not the one who ignores trauma. He is the one who crosses it even while trembling. Jung was even more cruel. He showed that every man carries a shadow. This shadow is the part of you that you hide. Violent desires, weaknesses, frustrations, unacceptable impulses. The coward spends his life trying to keep away from this shadow, but the more he flees, the stronger it grows. He spends his life trying to appear good, trying to be accepted, trying to avoid the darkness that terrifies him. The dangerous, courageous man does the opposite. He dives into the shadow. He faces what is most abject within himself, recognizes his monsters, and instead of fleeing, he tames them. That is what makes him dangerous. He is no longer a slave to his own darkness. He has turned it into strength. But this process has a price: isolation. When you face your shadow, you separate yourself from the masses. Because the masses live on illusions, distractions, narratives that hide fear. You can no longer live anesthetized like the others, because you have seen up close what they spend their lives avoiding. This vision marks you. It gives you coldness, but strips you of innocence. You begin to walk alone, surrounded by men who laugh, drink, and distract themselves, while you carry the memory of what you have seen inside yourself. This solitude is the burden of true courage, and it is here that psychoanalysis touches the same nerve as Machiavelli. The one who faces his shadow no longer needs to justify himself, because he has already defeated the greatest enemy. He may be hated, slandered, misunderstood, but none of that matters, because he has already crossed his own darkness. The world remains dangerous, but he becomes even more dangerous. I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you, dangerous courage is not born on the external battlefield. It is born in the internal abyss. Only the man who crosses the unconscious and masters his own shadow can govern others without breaking. You still believe that courage is about defeating enemies out there. I tell you, courage is about assassinating the cowardice that lives inside you. And this assassination is not clean, not fast, not beautiful. It is slow, painful, drenched in psychic blood. The coward dies many times throughout life without ever truly living. The dangerous, courageous man dies only once, and in that instant, he is reborn greater than all others. That is the difference no one dares to face, because it is too brutal to digest. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is walking with fear at your side and still crossing the battlefield. The common man runs, hides, makes excuses. The courageous man advances, trembles, but does not stop. And when others see that fear does not paralyze you, respect is born. Fear is born. Because if you can face your own fear, no one else can control you. The one who governs himself becomes ungovernable. And here is the reflection that will tear your mind apart. Cowardice keeps you alive, but dead inside. Courage kills you sooner, but makes you eternal. The coward ages in silence, forgotten, erased. The dangerous, courageous man may fall early, but his name echoes like steel in the memory of those who witnessed his audacity. Cowardice gives you time. Courage gives you meaning. Which one do you prefer to carry until the end? The entire society is built to manufacture cowards. Schools, religions, companies, families, all push you toward obedience and the search for safety. Because a dangerously and courageously authentic man is a threat. He does not bow. He cannot be controlled. He cannot be manipulated. That is why there are so few of them. The entire world conspires so that you never awaken this courage. But if you do awaken it, you shatter the order. I, Wolfchiavelli, am not here to give you peace. I am here to plant poison. If you have endured until now, understand this. Courage is not a virtue. It is a curse that will strip away your ordinary life, but give you something greater, an existence that cannot be ignored. The courageous man no longer belongs to the masses. He walks alone, but he walks with the weight of a destiny others will never touch. So remember this. Courage is dangerous because it does not only change the way you face the world, it forever destroys the fragile man you used to be. And when that man dies, there is no going back. If you've made it this far, Please like and subscribe to our channel. I sincerely hope you will be one of our first subscribers. Thank you, and best regards, Wolfchiavelli.